Welcome, dear viewers, to the channel of excerpts throughout history. Scientists say that by controlling genes, they will change the characteristics of man and make him peaceful. The presence of armies in countries will end and they will not find traces of soldiers except in history museums. Until they achieve this wish, let us know how he met millions have died in wars and revolutions. World War II. The most famous war in human history, the details of which we all know, started in 1939 and ended in 1945 with the defeat of Hitler and his army. The average number of victims during the war period reached 56 million people. There are other people who died after the end of the war as a result of injuries. Therefore, the number of civilian and military casualties may reach to 60 million people. Mongol conquests. The Chinese dynasties ruled large areas with an iron hand, but this is not comparable to the Mongol Empire, which is said to be the largest empire in human history. The Mongols controlled 20% of the Earth's area. The empire had many powerful rulers who were opening areas. Many people in the world have caused the death of more than 45 million people because of their excessive brutality and destruction of many cities without even offering their people to surrender. Historians agree that Alexander deserved the title of Grand or Great because of his unprecedented military success. He never lost a battle despite the fact that most of the armies he faced exceeded his promise. This is due to his good use of the lands of Al-Waka and his training of infantry and imagination corps to use excellent tactics and bold strategy. Because of the blind loyalty of his soldiers, Alexander armed his legions with long spears of up to 6 meters. These legions had been rigorously trained in fighting since the days of Philip II until they reached the highest levels of army perfection in their time. Their movement was fast and their ability to maneuver in the battlefield was great. Seized the Ming smoother. In 1616, the leader of Manchuria Nurchesi began to control the Manchurian tribes in China. In 1618, the Ming dynasty demanded that tribute be paid to him, but they refused and entered into a war with him that lasted 4 years. In the end, they lost the war. However, the rule of the Manchurian dynasty did not last long. The Republic of China began in 1912. The death toll during this war is estimated at 25 million people. The First World War. On June 28, 1914, the Yugoslav soldier Gavrilo Principe was assassinated by the Austrian fighter Franz Ferdinand, causing the First World War to be diffused. The forces of the world were divided into 2 parts. The first includes the United Kingdom, France, the Russian Empire, Belgium, Serbia, Italy, and Japan, Greece, Romania, Portugal, Spain and the United States. The second includes the German Empire, the Austro-Hungarian Empire, the Ottoman Empire and the Kingdom of Bulgaria. The war ended on Armistice Day, November 11, 1918 after Germany surrendered and caused the death of more than 16 million people. The conquests of Timor. The name Timor means iron. It is the name of a Chinese leader who tried to invade Asia in the 14th century AD in search of power and influence. After that, he succeeded in establishing the Mughal Empire in India, which lasted until the middle of the 18th century. His wars throughout his life caused the death of more than 15 million people. Muslim Rebellion. The Muslim Rebellion was a religious war in China in the 19th century. It is also called the Dungan Revolution and the Minority War. The war originated due to the launch of several uprisings aimed at establishing an Islamic emirate in China, which ultimately failed and caused the death of large numbers of Muslims. The death toll is estimated at 12 million one person. What is certain is that the town of Hui, whose population was Muslim, lost 91% of its population density after the war, which led to the flight of many Muslims to Russia. Russian Civil War. Russia paid a lot of blood for the Napoleonic War, but these figures cannot be compared to what happened during the Russian Civil War. The Russian War was a series of successive battles that ultimately shaped the Russian Revolution and enabled the Bolsheviks to execute the Tsar and his entire family. At the end of the war, the death toll reached 20 million people, of whom 15 million died because of the war. 1.5 million soldiers died during the clashes and more than 250,000 people were executed on charges of being enemies of the revolution. Napoleonic Wars. The French Revolution from 1789 to 1799 was the most famous period of turmoil for France and Europe in general. After the collapse of the monarchy, Napoleon Bonaparte became the first consul in 1799 and declared himself emperor in 1804. Europe found a great danger coming towards it with the aim of overthrowing the monarchy after it happened in France, so everyone allied against Napoleon, but Spain and Romania did not hold up much, unlike England, which defeated him in the Battle of Waterloo on June 18, 1815. After the end of the war, the death toll reached 2.5 million soldiers from Europe and 1 million civilians. Dear viewers, we have finished today's episode. If you like the video, subscribe to the channel to receive everything new.